So my first review since coming back, it's going to be a film which is probably one of the most quotable films of all time, my favourite film of all time. Came out last year in May and I fell in love with it the first time I saw it. I have seen it over 10 times now, to be honest, and I do not regret that one bit. It's one of the best films ever made, and it is a masterpiece. On the back of both the DVD and the Blu-ray, it says an action masterpiece, and it sure as hell is. It's Mad Max Fury Road. Now, the cast is absolutely perfect. I mean, when you think Tom Hardy, you obviously think hard-hitting, action. He plays Max to a T, and this Max is insane. I was going to say mad, but that would sound a bit cliched. There's the fighting in it, particularly the scene between Max and Charlize Theron's Furiosa, is absolutely amazing. The action sequences, especially this part where they're going back, with Tom Hardy jumping from vehicle to vehicle, including the fighting with the Doof Warrior bit. I'll get more onto the Doof Warrior in a bit. It's absolutely brilliant. It's definitely one of the best films I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it now. Now, what makes this so special? It lacks special effects. There's only one scene with special effects in, and that scene is the sandstorm scene, which is the one that was on the trailers where you see the vehicles exploding into the sandstorm when it's going around and around. One of the most intense films I've ever seen. I mean, the vehicles exploding and crashing are not special effects, they're actual effects. The vehicles in it are absolutely mad. I mean, look at the tanker, for example. The back part's filled with fuel. The middle part, God knows what's in there. I know that the many mothers were in there at one time. No, not many mothers. The wives were in there at one time. And like, there's spikes sticking out. There's flamethrowers on vehicles. There's guns. There's the polecats. There's the Doof Warrior. There's the drummers. I mean, geez, from start to finish, it's non-stop, it's action-filled, and it's one of the best films ever made. Obviously, I've already mentioned stars Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron. Also stars the person who played Toe Cutter in the original Mad Max, Nicholas Hoult, Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, Zoe Kravitz, who else? Loads of other people that you'd recognise from other things. The person who was meant to play Wonder Woman in George Miller, who directed this film's Justice League film. From start to finish, remarkable. It's full of action, it's full of violence, but it's not overly violent, so it's not going to make people who don't like ultra-violence uncomfortable, which is one of the best things about it. However, the standout thing with this film, and I'm sure that many people would agree with me here, is the soundtrack from Tom Holkenborg, aka Junkie XL. It's one of the most beautiful sounding soundtracks of all time, and with the news that he's worked with Hans Zimmer on the Dawn of Justice soundtrack. If you haven't given the two 90-second previews a listen, I would recommend you do. It's from start to finish, the songs, the tempos, the drumming, the Doof Warrior guitar. It's beautiful. I mean, sure, I know a lot of people have said that it's lacked story, and it's very clearly a women power film, which is very good in modern day cinema. I mean, the stand-up performance in this film is from Charlize Theron's Imperator Furiosa. It's one of the most backwards but yet beautiful films, especially the scenery with it. The colours, I mean, bright oranges, bright reds. It's one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen, and as soon as I saw it in cinemas the day it came out, I was sat on the edge of my seat for probably 3/4 of the film, especially the chase scenes, and my jaw was open the whole time. Could it have been better? I highly doubt it, and George Miller has got one hell of a task on his hand, trying to top it with The Wasteland, which is the sequel to Fury Road. So, cast. I'm going to give that an A. Obviously, there could have been more big names in it, but it's probably better that it didn't have more big names in it. I mean, you don't exactly want Tom Cruise running about in it, do you? Special effects, just for the one scene, because it was nearly all practical effects, A+, obviously. Acting, A+, because the characters were convincing. It looked very real and very terrifying, especially with the makeup, hair, and costumes. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks that. Soundtrack, definitely one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. I mean, if I could give it more than an A+, I would. Altogether, the editing, the sound, probably the best film I've ever seen for that, and Fury Road, my best film of 2015 by far. Gets a definite A+ from me, and I cannot wait to see the sequel for it.